do for us. So good morning again, and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Phoenix. I welcome you in the name of the ancestors whose shoulders upon I stand, and I welcome you in the name of all that you hold holy and sacred for you. It is indeed an honor and a pleasure to be able to share this space with you on this beautiful Mother's Day in May. So here we do not ask what you believe or expect you to think the way we do. But we are Unitarian Universalists, so we do ask something. We ask only that you try and live a kind and helpful life with the dignity proper to that of a human being. So welcome all who believe that religion is wider than any sect or deeper than any set of opinions. Welcome all who might find in our friendship, strength and encouragement for daily living. So today is Mother's Day. Dare I say every day is Mother's Day. You see, mothers fill spaces we cannot see. Mothers create spaces to make us free. Mothers are responsible for who you be. So we honor those mothers who literally taught us how to be a human. I'm especially thinking about those who grew a person in their body. You take 4 seconds and think about that one. And I want to shout out to the seed droppers, AKA the fathers. Well, we know the real deal. And we also salute those mothers who've cared for and who continue to care for babies who were birthed by other moms, for they are mothers too. And to the fathers and the aunties and the uncles and the aunts, and yes, their fellow siblings who have felt the call to be a mother and have lived mother as a verb, as a way to be, showing love for any and all sentient beings. So I was recently asked by a couple of men in the men's group that I sit with, and then my mom asked me too. She said some version, so Anthony, when did this minister thing really start for you? And I thought about it, and I thought about all the answers that I might have given. But then I said, Mama, you know what? It started with you. This is all your fault. Now, because in my life, whenever I've come up with some choices I've had to make, in my grown life, I should say, where my integrity was being challenged or my honesty was being challenged, I always had this phrase that I always said, I can't do that. My mama didn't raise me like that. So it's all your fault. But let's be fair, Pops was there. Pops had a role, but we all know who does the work. Now, in full honesty, there was a time when I didn't listen to Mama. I listened to the streets. I listened to my peers. And a big mistake, I listened to my young self, by myself, in spite of what others were saying. Those were what I call my knucklehead years. My zip gun years, my going to jail years, yep, my robbing and stealing years. Now, why would I want to share something about that with you today? Other than I always tell folks, when you can be vulnerable, you might have a shot at being courageous. So I have to walk the talk. So, My main reason for sharing this story is each and every one of you, when you go home tonight or maybe last night and you pop that tube on and you see CNN and you see MSNBC or Fox or whoever you watch, and you have to include everybody. Everybody's welcome here. And I dare say you see those young black men and women fighting, robbing, selling drugs, or whatever the crime story of the evening is. I want you to know something. They are dealing with the reality in which they find themselves, and I want you to also remember me, because I are one of them. And I want you to know also that among them that you are watching are ministers and CEOs and teachers and doctors and lawyers. As my friend from New York would say, lawyers. They are our fellow citizens, believe it or not, of the highest caliber, who are being dealt the lowest hand. So when we see that video play out, what is the classic aftermath? It's always mom, the crying mama. This drama is being played out in every major city in this country of ours. We always see the mother, the crying mother, those who carried that child and know his, her, or their true worth. But it is also our mothers who teach us about joy. Joy. Katie alluded to it earlier. What I call that magic elixir known as mother's milk that flowed to me. I had my own personal restaurant. So I want to say thank you, Ma. I love you, Ma. So me being here really started with you. Now, being a hard-headed fellow, though, it took a long time to sink in. But I'm happy to say it's in. So what came first on my life journey is honoring that mom, and now I want to honor all mothers. I want to call my mother's name out. Her name is Ruth Joan Grafton Johnson Sharif. And all those mothers with us today, those who have given birth, those who have cared for and care for the children, the younger ones, or for other sentient beings. And a very special shout out also for those mothers who have children with special mental challenges. So if you are a mother, please stand. Please stand for me, just for a moment. This is for you. Benji and I have something for you. So mothers, we sing to you right now. So we're going to do it one time, and then I'll ask everybody to join in. You're lovely, awesome and perfect. You're beautiful, just the way you are. Everybody, you're lovely, awesome and perfect. You're beautiful, just the way you are. One more time like you mean it. You're lovely, awesome and perfect. You're beautiful, just the way you are. One more time. Just the way you are. All right, thank you. Yeah, thank you, mothers. Thank you, thank you. Amy alluded earlier about some version of how stories have shaped our life. So I would like to share you a story about a young man who grew up on the south side of Chicago, and he liked football. He played all sports, but he really loved football, and he loved his high school team. And one evening, they lost the big game to a rival school. Now, I'm going to use the phrase, the prevailing standard at that time in his universe and in that world was to retaliate against the winning team. their fans, meaning to physically attack the fans of the winning school. See, fights where he grew up after high school football games were kind of common. This particular night, this young man had does anybody know or remember an old TV show called Jim Bowie? Well, he had what's called, yeah, I saw a hand over there, Jim Bowie, yeah. He had what's called a Jim Bowie knife. Oh, I heard some. So that mean it wasn't like a pen knife? Jim Bowie knife wasn't them kind of knives. So this little knucklehead had a Jim Bowie knife in his 57 Chevy glove compartment. And he pulled it out and he went racing into the crowd. And as the story goes, he was tackled by an undercover police officer, handcuffed and taken off to jail. At the hearing, his parents were there. They were present as the lawyers were retelling the story. The police officer testified, retelling his side of the story. Then when the prosecutor held up this rather large Jim Bowie knife and said, "This is what the young man had in his possession," a loud, curdling cry just descended upon that courtroom. It engulfed the whole room and everyone in it. It was like a mountain of sound. And it said, "Oh no, not my son," is what mom said. "Oh no, not my son." The young man's mom was shaking. Tears were flowing down her cheeks, her eyes ablaze with the love for her boy. She was adamant there was no way her son would have such a weapon, yet alone try and hurt somebody with it. "Oh no, not my son," she screamed. Everything and everyone in that courtroom was momentarily paralyzed. You guessed it, that young man was me. And that mom was my mom. That judge looked at me, or more kind of looked right through me is what it felt like. And he looked at my mom and he said, "You're a lucky man," as he pointed at me, "to have a mom that loves you like that." And with that, he released me, dismissed my case, and forever changed my life. But the mom that loves you like that, he said, those words, 3 little words, "not my son," would resonate in my head for the rest of my young life and into my adult years and even today. So I asked myself, what would Ma say about that? So again, thank you, Ma. So here are some qualities of what I think make up a good mom. Mothers have a positive attitude. Mothers exhibit creativity. They have an ability to inspire. Mothers have patience. Mothers take responsibility. They have determination. And mothers are trustworthy. Mothers are the ones who teach us how to have confidence and to believe in ourselves. Mothers are walking miracles. Life does not come with a manual, but Johnny, it comes with a mother. I call Johnny out every time I do something. And if at first you don't succeed, try doing it the way your mom told you in the beginning. And a mother's hug lasts long, long after she let go. So I pay homage to my mother and to all mothers and to all women the way I know how, through poetry. So I have a question for you. What if God is a woman? How about that? What if God is a woman and she's coming soon? Anyone in this congregation ever see a man that didn't come from a womb? Ever see one that didn't end up in a tomb of some kind? Yeah, I'm a child of the commode and I see all behind. And I listen with my eyes and I see her in combat boots, skin of black lacquer, pipe in her mouth, full of wondrous laughter, calling me out of my gender all these years. And we wonder why feminine energy shed so many tears. Can you imagine what it would be like if God was always referred to, I don't know, as an eel? How would a gorilla relate? Somebody better call Darwin. It's getting late. It's getting late. Now, my friends, the Muslims say God has no gender. It's not tough. It's not tender. Maybe both, maybe neither. I don't know. Do you? Do you? Do you? I say it's time for a new blue haiku. So I ask myself, am I too sinister to be a minister? Do I eat too much ham to be an imam? Am I too full of yeast to be a priest? And am I too frail to find that holy grail? Now, I didn't go to school long enough to be called a doc. But one thing I know for sure, sometimes I can feel it. Didn't go to school long enough to be called a doc, but sometimes I can feel it, that space between the tick and the tock. That space between the tick and the tock. So what if God is a woman and she's coming soon? Maybe even to a theater near you. Didn't go to school long enough to be called a doc, but you too can feel it sometimes. That space between the tick and the tock. Happy Mother's Day. Good doubt. And I'm out. Blessed be. Amen. Ashe.